if you can, it's nice. But I would also say the education is good. So if you get a diploma from a school, well, I say most schools in Denmark, it's gonna be a solid diploma. But then staying and getting a job, that's gonna be quite difficult.
What's up, my journeys? It's your boy Italian Davido. At this very moment, I'm right here with
Alan.
Alan. Hi.
Alan. Hi.
How are you?
I'm fine, and you?
I'm okay.
Yeah.
So where are you from?
I'm from. I was born in Kenya, and I grew up in the Netherlands.
Really?
Yeah.
So why are you here in Denmark?
I work here. I
How
came
long?
to study, and I've been here for 10 years. Been working for 6 years.
Oh, you came here to study?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So then after your studies,
Then I stayed.
You stayed?
Yeah.
Wow. So what happened to Netherlands? So why didn't you?
I grew up there.
Okay.
It wasn't that interesting anymore for me, so I moved here. Yeah. But it was good. It's a nice place. Just wanted something different.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
So tell me, how different is Denmark from Netherlands?
It's not that different.
Okay.
It's not that different.
Okay.
I guess in the best ways, it's not that different. It's a nice place to live.
Okay.
People are mostly nice.
We are here or Netherlands?
Here also
Okay.
as well.
Okay.
It's flat as well, so it's there's not many mountains, which is not, I guess, the best. But it's a nice place to live. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
So where would you prefer? Do you prefer Netherlands or you prefer Denmark?
I think I prefer Denmark.
Over Netherlands?
Yeah. Just maybe because I've been here most of my adult life. Because I grew up in the Netherlands, I was quite young, and then I moved here to do my master, and then most of my adult life I've spent here. So it's been so far so good, I'd say. So I think I prefer here.
Wow. So what did you study in school?
I studied law.
Law.
Yeah.
So you're a lawyer now?
No, I'm a jurist. I didn't get my qualification yet. No.
Okay. Still studying, right?
No, I finished now, so I'm working.
Can you tell me more about the educational system
Here?
in Denmark?
I can only tell you about the program that I did in terms of the master. It was 2 years,
Okay.
and I think that used to be the standard. I'm not entirely sure if that still is. But yeah, it was 2 years, and then you have. I was lucky enough in mine that it was 1 year here, and then half a year somewhere else, and then did my thesis here. So yeah, 1 year here, 6 months somewhere else, 6 months here.
Was that challenging? Was that difficult?
Was it challenging? Not as much as my bachelor, but I think it's because I think maybe for most people, once you've sort of gone through the initial bachelor phase, you understand sort of what's expected from you in university. In your master, you pick it, and that's what you want to do. So it was a bit easier. Yeah.
So how would you compare the quality of education in Denmark
Yeah.
over Netherlands?
Oh, that's difficult. I think they're both good. There's definitely different teaching styles. There's a lot more oral exams here than there is in the Netherlands.
Oral exams?
Yeah. In the Netherlands, there were a lot more written exams.
Okay.
At least when I was studying. I don't know if that's still the case now. So I'd say that's the big difference. I think because my difference is also a bit different. I didn't study in Dutch. I studied in English.
Okay.
And I also studied in English here. And I would say that there you have smaller classrooms. So it was nicer in that way, that maybe there's not too many people, so that there's a lot more attention from the lecturers as well on the students. So it was good.
Like the language is not an issue studying in Denmark?
If you find an English program, no. I mean,
Okay.
if you want to study in Danish, you have to you have to speak Danish.
Okay.
But if you want to study in English, then it's fine. And I think I probably go 95% of people in Denmark probably speak English, and at least 80% of them fluently. So I think it's easy if you want to study. Well, depends. If you're an EU citizen, it's a bit easier because as an EU citizen, you get similar rights to Danish students here, so you can study for free. But if you're an international student, you have to pay quite a bit of money to study here. So it can be very expensive if you're a non-EU student.
Really?
Yeah. So if you're an EU student, you don't have to pay fees. But what you do have to pay is you have to find your accommodation, you have to find food. Well, food, of course. And most people, what they do is when they come here and then they get a job and then maybe they get a place to stay as well. So it's difficult to get in, but once you're in, it's relatively easy. For international students, it's I think maybe somewhere between 10 to 20,000 euros.
Wow.
A year. If you're an international student, again, I'm not 100% sure on the numbers, but it can get quite expensive. And also depends on which school you go to, whether it's a private school or if it's also one that's maybe half subsidized. So it can get quite expensive as a non-EU student.
Okay. So can you recommend any uni to anyone?
Can I recommend?
Yeah.
I guess I'm biased, so I would go Copenhagen University. That's where I went. That's where I went. So I would recommend that one. It's it's good. They've been around for hundreds of years, so I guess they're doing something right.
Okay.
For business, I've heard that CBS is quite good, but I can't comment on that because I didn't study business or nothing good. But I think there's quite a few good schools. DTU, of course, for technical studies, that's also quite good. And those are the ones that I know, sort of off the top of my head. There's good quality schools here if you can get in. Yeah.
Wow. So tell me about the basic life in Denmark. So
Basic life.
yeah.
Okay. Anything in particular, or just what it's like day to day, or?
Anyway, anything, or maybe in general,
I mean, if you have a job and you have a place to live, it can be quite nice. If you don't have those things, it gets very difficult. Because I mean, how long have you been here so far?
Like 2 days now.
You've been here 2 days, and I'm sure you've noticed that things are not very cheap.
Absolutely. No.
Get a job that can match sort of the cost of living, you're fine. But otherwise, it can be quite difficult. I think maybe especially also in Copenhagen. I think in Copenhagen it's quite expensive. So if you don't have a job that's sort of matching the cost of living here, it can get quite expensive. And I say that's maybe one drawback, but the quality of life is good if you can get something like that. But I guess also there's the rest of the country too. I mean, there's other cities, there's other places also just not that far away from Copenhagen where it can be a bit cheaper. Also Jutland or Jutland can also be quite nice out there as well. So it's not a big country, but there's space.
Sounds good. So, are there any benefits for international students in Denmark?
Any benefits?
Yeah.
I guess, again, if you can stay here, it's quite nice.
Okay.
But I can also speak from experience that I was quite lucky and able to find a job after studying. I mean, it took me at least 6 months, 7 months.
Before you could find
I found a job after I finished studying. And I think for a lot of international students that can be quite difficult. And a few also end up going home because they made it, they try to be here, and then the job market can be quite competitive in that way. So I'd say if you can, it's nice, but I would also say the education is good. So if you get a diploma from a school, well, I say most schools in Denmark, it's gonna be a solid diploma. But then staying and getting a job, that's going to be quite difficult. A lot of it's network based, so you sort of need to know people. So if you're here and you want to stay here, you also need to make quite a bit of effort to try and get to know the Danish people, which can be it can be difficult because you need to speak the language to get a bit closer to them, even though they all speak English. But I think it's maybe just a difference in culture of how open you are and how willing you're able to let somebody into your social circle. So if you can get here, make a lot of Danish friends, get a good network, and then get a job, you're good. But that's quite difficult, I'd say. I mean, anywhere in general, I think, in the world, to do those things in that order to make sure you're here, that's fine. But otherwise, I'd say yes, but temper your expectations. And be prepared to wait, and it's gonna cost a lot of money. I think as well. It's gonna, especially if it's Copenhagen, it's going to be expensive. Yeah.
Wow. So have you visited Kenya ever since you've been here?
Yeah. I think I went. Was it 2 years ago? 2 years ago was the last time I went. I don't really go that often.
Okay.
Because most of my family lives in the Netherlands. But yeah, I think it was 2023. 2023 was the last time I was there. Yeah.
So would you like to spend the rest of your life here, or are you going to move back to Netherlands or?
That's a good question. I think for now I'm happy here. I'm not going to say that I'm not going to move anywhere else, because I mean I didn't necessarily think I was going to. Well, that's not true. I thought I was going to leave the Netherlands at some point just to see the rest of the world. But I think for now I'm happy here, and whatever the future holds, if it's here, if it's somewhere else, I'm open to it. So it's. I think the world's too small to stay in one place for too long.
Absolutely.
Yeah. It's if you can, again, if you can afford it, why not? If you can, then yeah, then your options are limited.
Okay. Do you have anything to say about Danish people?
They're
What
quite.
have you observed about these people past years?
I gotta be careful. I got a lot of Danish friends. No, I think.
Just be transparent.
No, they're nice people once you get to know them, I think.
Really?
But I think it's maybe just a general thing that sometimes it can take a little bit of time to get to know them. And I don't think it's anything that's done in a negative sense. I think it's just maybe the way, because I would say, for example, if you go to Kenya or something, right, you might be able to have a conversation with somebody just on the street or those sort of things, and it might be a bit easier. But maybe that's just the culture. It's just a little bit more warm, and somebody might invite you maybe to their home a little bit faster than over here. And I think what I can say is that it might be difficult to get to know someone that's Danish, but once you do know someone that's Danish, you have a friend for a very, very long time.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yes.
So to round up this program, do you have any kind of life advice for someone who'll be watching to this very moment?
Life advice?
Yeah.
Jesus. Life advice. Life advice. Any life advice for anyone? That's difficult.
Okay.
I guess it's gonna sound very very stereotypical and very cheesy, but I say that change is the only thing that's consistent. And I understand how that sounds because it's inherently inconsistent to say that change is consistent. But I guess essentially it's that nothing lasts forever, and that's both positive and negative. So I would just say that change is the only thing that's consistent. And I know that's not advice, but I think maybe for some people it would help to hear that things can change. And you can control it sometimes, and sometimes you can't. And it's hard to know when and how, but I think because it will change, you can count on that.
Wow. That's amazing.
I hope so.
Yeah, change is constant, so people should go for changes, you know?
Yeah, I
it's
mean,
good.
sometimes it happens when you want it, sometimes it happens when you don't want it, but it happens.
I believe everything is possible, like if you should put your mind to it, you know?
Yeah.
So guys, thank you so much for watching, and tell me what you think about this, my amazing brother, Alam. It was nice talking with you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for having you.
It was nice to meet you too.
Same here.
Yes, enjoy your travels.
Thank you so much. So, tell me what you think about him, and don't forget to give a thumbs up to this video. See you in my next video. Peace out.